Okay guys, coming to you with a brief quick video of just kind of breaking down and explaining intermittent fasting a little bit. So remember, for the challenge, we're not requiring that you do this. I've just had a ton of people ask about it, so we give it to you as an option. Now on Trainerize, there will be a fasting window check mark, but that check mark, whether you hit it or not, does not have any response to your compliancy of your nutrition, your workouts, your water that the coaches are looking at. So whether you check this box or not, it's completely up to you. Again, if you want to and it's something you want to do, your coach can kind of keep an eye on it. But other than that, this is specifically up to you, because I think this works great for a good amount of people, but some people it will not work for, and I'll explain that a little bit. So what is intermittent fasting? What this is, it's the idea that we have a window of time that we eat and then a prolonged window of time that we do not eat. So you see, I'm going to play around with some numbers here, but the idea why we would do this is because we are typically constantly feeding ourselves throughout the day, which is fine. We need that fuel, we need that energy, but it takes a lot of energy to break that food down. So, our insulin moves a lot, which is again is a response to carbohydrates and some proteins. When there's a spike in that insulin, there's also a drop. When there's that drop, that body needs to spike back up. When it drops, you're tired, you're lethargic, so it needs to be drove back up. So then we're playing this yo-yo game all day long. The less time we spend eating, the less time we spend fighting that up and down. Now, again, this depends on the person. Also, when you're not eating, you have time to break down and digest. It takes a lot of energy to digest our food every single meal that we have. So if we're not constantly digesting our food and we go a prolonged amount of time where we've still eaten, but then we go over that prolonged amount of time where we haven't eaten, your body's allowed to digest everything in its system, spend its energy going to other areas of your body that may be broke or need fixed, or internally healing yourself. So that's why you kind of see a lot of people who've done this kind of see metabolisms reset a little bit, because the metabolism actually gets to work on itself and heal itself. Just as if you were to cut yourself, it'll eventually heal itself. Same with the metabolism, but we spend too much time eating food all the time, so it's constantly fighting against us. So that's kind of a concept around it. Now, for somebody who's very, very active, or has very long days, I'd recommend intermittent fasting is not for you. So for instance, if you're a person who works out at 5 or 6 a.m. in the morning, and then you work all day and you're typically not going to bed till 8 or 9 o'clock at night, that is a long day and a prolonged amount of time to go without food, especially when you're burning calories first thing in the morning, then your body's hungry the rest of the day. So just listen to your body. If you're overall hungry with all this, maybe it's something you should keep an eye on, and maybe step away from if you're trying it and you just find it's too hard. But if you see, I've got different numbers up here. I've got 10 and 14. This side, the left side here, is an eating window. The right side is a fasting window. We're going to recommend you, for those who are doing it, you start off with a larger eating window, because we got to get used to it. We got to get the body adapted. So the idea is that you spend 10 hours of your day eating or having your meals, and then you go complete 14 hours without eating. Now, the goal is to get to 18 and 6. That's where we really see the true benefits of the fasting come in, but these are stepping stones, remember. So with that, let's say you have your first meal at 8 o'clock in the morning. 8 o'clock starts your window, so then that means all of a sudden 10 hours later, 6 p.m. would be your cutoff. So first meal would be 8 o'clock in the morning. You eat whenever you need to throughout the day, whenever you have time. You cut it off at 6, and then from 6 all the way back till 10 again the next day. You don't have any calories. That means 0 calories, whether you drink them, eat them, whatever it is. Water, coffee, tea are about the only things you can consume in a fasting state. Whether it's bone broth or some kind of liquid soup or anything like that, that still counts. That's calories you're consuming. So then we'll just shorten those windows as the challenge goes on. For those who want to try it, we start getting pretty low. Again, it gets a little more difficult. I don't truly recommend it. This is kind of that golden area that I would work for or work with clients with that. I've done a little bit myself. It just kind of depends, again, on my day. I think it should go as your day goes. You don't have to set the exact same time every single day. If you wake up at 7 a.m. and you're hungry, eat. Then just be a little more cautious. If you've got a 10-hour window, then that puts you, at 5 p.m. you're shutting down eating. So just kind of play it up and down as your body responds to it and as you need to it. So just kind of give you a small insight. You can look up other things on it of what fasting does and intermittent fasting, why we kind of play around with it. But the true idea is that the body just gets some additional energy, gets to stop finally digesting food, and can work on ourselves internally. And then you feel good because your insulin's not moving all around, because it's not digesting and breaking down that food. Your insulin stays nice and level, so you have a nice level energy throughout that day until we do eat. So that's kind of the idea and the concept behind it. If you feel it's for you, go for it. If not, don't worry about it. Just stick with your macros and you'll be good.